I'd like to be president.
Okay.
I'm not going to even think about it until we get through this November 6th election about what's going to happen after that.
So now here we are in the speculation into whether or not Hillary will run in 2020. Getting a little bit more interesting now. One of her former senior advisors predicted that not only will she run again, but that she could easily capture the 2020 nomination. Meanwhile, one of her potential Democratic rivals, Elizabeth Warren, looking a bit worse for the wear of the midterm election. See this headline here in the Wall Street Journal. Here now, Charlie Hurt, opinion editor at the Washington Times and Fox News contributor, and Juan Williams, co-host of The Five and a Fox News political analyst. So Mark Penn basically coming out and saying, look, when you look at the rest of this field, Hillary Clinton could absolutely win this nomination again, Juan.
Well, I think this is speculation of a rank kind. I think he has some resentment against Hillary Clinton. But it delights some people, I think the right wing, which is looking for somebody that they can...
So you think he's being mean to her?
I do. I don't think there's any basis for it. I don't think there's any chance that she comes out of the starting gate. But what he said was it's possible that because you're going to have 1,000 flowers blooming and so many people running, that if she sees in the middle of it that there's a problem, maybe she would emerge or maybe offer herself.
She's saying, Charlie, he said, she has good approval numbers. A lot of people feel like this was like she was robbed in 2016 and might very well rally around her to right the wrong that they see.
And the person who thinks that she was robbed the most is Hillary Clinton herself. And if you look back over the 25 plus years that the Clintons have been on the national political stage, all of their decisions are not based on what's best for the party or what's best for other people. It's always based on what's best for the Clintons. And so I do think that there's a poll I think last week conducted about all of the people that are being talked about running for the Democratic nomination, and the number one spot was none of the above. That's not a knock on all the people that are running. It's just that there's so many people running that the number two person was Joe Biden. Anybody, any major party figure at this point can be guaranteed to get 30, 35, 40% of that vote, and that could be very dangerous.
Name recognition alone, which she has a ton of right now. So Juan, Elizabeth Warren, this piece that the Wall Street Journal wrote, basically said that she had planted all of these, people that she supported around the country. She's writing a book. She's kind of going through the steps that you do to create support around the country, and that it didn't really go well for her. Her candidates didn't succeed, and that puts her in a bad spot.
I disagree. I mean, just looking at the numbers again, Joe Biden tends to be the number one, but in some polls now, Elizabeth Warren is number one among Democrats in terms of who they like. And also, it's interesting, and I think given what we know about Donald Trump, that you would have a woman. So it's possible that people like Kamala Harris, not only Amy Klobuchar, the senator, but also Elizabeth Warren. And I think there are lots of people who see her as standing up for sort of kitchen table issues with regard to financial community, too big to fail, health care. Those are issues that work so well for Democrats this year in the midterms.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was kind of interesting, Charlie, that the president had Mike Pence stand up and say, yep, you're going to be my vice presidential running mate, right? And I thought, it is going to be a question of whether or not, perhaps they might want to have a woman on the ticket. I mean, I'm not suggesting that anyone's indicated that it's not going to stay the same, but, that's going to be an issue for them.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do think that one of the interesting things out of these midterms is when you look at races like Richard Cordray in Ohio, who was a big fan favorite of Elizabeth Warren, and you look at some of these other places, and I know that we have not made a decision about Andrew Gillum, but those were very progressive candidates, and they didn't do as well as everybody said that they would. And I think it's because of the issues, and a lot of that sort of strain of Democratic politics isn't a winner this time.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Good to see you both. So when we come back, the man everybody's talking about tonight, veteran and newly elected Congressman Dan Crenshaw, perhaps the only person in D.C. earning praise on both sides of the aisle for what he said on Saturday Night Live. He will talk about that in a moment and what he plans to do now that he's going to Washington.
Americans can forgive one another. We can remember what brings us together as a country and still see the good in each other.